Hello guys, here we go, lesson 80. We are finding surface area and volume of spheres. This is the last piece that we will add to your little blue book. So let's get going. Hope you liked that last video. It was kind of short yesterday. Trying to be a little shorter, a little quicker. We're moving along so fast and so quick. So now, everybody in your brain have an idea of a sphere. In my classroom, I have a tennis ball. Think of a basketball, a baseball, any kind of circular round ball, not a football. I'm not going to talk about a football today, but a sphere, a round piece. So, their definition of a sphere. So, here we go. A sphere. Okay, it's a set of points in space. That are a fixed distance. That are a fixed distance from a given point. That given point is called the center of the sphere. All right, so the center of the sphere is very important. Okay, it's like the center of a circle. Okay, it's where it all begins. And then we can find the radius of the sphere. Okay, the radius of the sphere is generally a segment. Okay, segment whose endpoints are the center of the sphere and any point on the sphere. Okay. Just a little bit of definitions, and we don't have one more. But as you're going to find your little geometry book, I'm going to draw this out. We just did cones just the other day on the left side. And today we're going to do spheres on the right side. Okay? Now the question, if you've got that sphere in your head and you're thinking about it, does it have a lateral area? What does the lateral area mean again? Lateral literally means sides, right? Where is the side of a sphere? It doesn't have one. It has no lateral area. I don't know if you caught that at the beginning, that usually I write lateral area, surface area, and volume of cones or pyramids or whatever we've done. But for spheres, there is no lateral area. We only have surface area and volume. Okay, so the surface area will simply be 4 pi r squared. Okay, 4 pi r squared. Okay. Next, we have the volume of a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. We will not go into why in the world these formulas are the way they are. We're just happy that somebody else came up with them and we didn't have to. Okay? So, let's go ahead. Right, there's one more definition. What's a hemisphere? We talked about we live in the Western Hemisphere. Yeah, it's half of a sphere. Like a semicircle is half of a circle. A hemisphere is half of a sphere. I'm sure nobody would ever want to cut a tennis ball in half. Or, a cantaloupe. Hey, cut a cantaloupe in half. You have a hemisphere, okay? A great circle is the circle on the sphere that divides the sphere into two hemispheres. So the great circle is, we would kind of look at it kind of like the diameter. It's exactly halfway, okay? We really won't use that much at all. But just know if you need to find the surface area of a sphere, sometimes you have to find the area of that circle, what they call the great circle, on top. So you would find half of the surface area and then the area of that circle. Okay, so let's look at a problem or two. Let's find the surface area and volume of a sphere. So let's find the surface area and volume of a sphere with radius equal to, let's say, oh my goodness, I want to be nice, but we're going to say 5 centimeters. Yeah. And also I want you to round to the nearest hundredth. Okay, so 2 problems. Surface area is what? 4 pi r squared. And volume is 4/3 pi r cubed. Remember, cubed volume is usually cubed. We're going to cube our radius for that. Okay, I'm going to pull up my calculator because I feel like some of us are still not using the pi button on our calculator. Please use the pi button on your calculator when they ask you to round to something. Okay, don't hit 3.14. That's not exactly pi. Okay, so as my calculator is pulling up, I'm simply going to input my radius of 5 into each of these. So I'm going to say 4 pi times 5 squared. Okay. I'm going to give you a hint. If you put 3.14 for this one, you would not have any decimals. Okay? So don't do that. So I'm going to plug in, get rid of all that. I plug it in exactly like it is. You don't have to. 4 pi times 5 squared. And your calculator knows to do PEMDAS. It knows it's going to square the 5 first. Okay? Should I have an answer? Should I have a thought of what the answer is going to be? Do you know that 5 squared is 25? Do you know 25 times 4 is 100? And 100 pi should be 314, right? So I should get an answer very close to that number. Okay, so I like to still use my logic brain and have an idea of what my number is. So exactly is 100 pi, approximately 314.16. See how I rounded to the nearest hundredth, centimeter squared. Okay. All right, next for the volume, I'm going to move that over here. I have 4/3 pi times 5 cubed. Now that I don't know as well. Okay, I don't know that that's just going to come out perfectly, but I'm going to put in my parentheses 4/3. Oh, I will show you. I'll do this problem again and show you something nifty because you can put in fractions really neat. Times pi times 5 raised to the 3rd power. Okay? The little raised button right there is amazing too. So that seems about right. So we have approximately 523.59877. So when I'm rounding 5/9, that 8 sits to round that 9 up. So I need to round that to a 60 centimeters cubed. Okay? There's this nifty thing, alpha and y equals. You can plug in a fraction as 4/3. Neat calculator trick. there, so you don't have to put it in parentheses. It's up to you. Okay? All right, I'll clear that. And this is pretty much it. Okay, can you find the volume? Well, let's do one that's a hemisphere. Calculate the surface area and volume of a hemisphere. Okay, so we're going to find the surface area and volume of a hemisphere. What is a hemisphere again? We've cut a sphere in half. They want to round it to the nearest hundredth. We don't need to use the same. Let's just do a diameter of 14 with 14 inches. Okay, so I'm writing my formulas down again. S equals 4 pi r squared. Okay, now I do have to alter that for a hemisphere. Okay, so I'm cutting it in half. Okay, but then, let me write it down here. So a hemisphere will be this 4 pi r squared divided by 2. So that would be the bottom half of the sphere. But then we need to add the area of the circle plus pi r squared. Okay, that's going to be the area of the circle on top. If you're looking at, they do a great picture on page 525 of the hemisphere. So there's a great circle, or the circle that's the flat. So if you're envisioning cutting a melon, cantaloupe, honeydew, something in half, it's that green or the orange that's on the top. Okay, it's all of the bottom around. Oh my goodness, whatever it is, the outside. Can't think about that right now. So I probably would reduce this 4 and 2. 4 divided by 2 is simply 2. So it would be 2 pi r squared plus pi r squared, which you could almost simplify to 3 pi r squared. If you wanted to simplify it, that's okay. If you just wanted to plug stuff in, that's okay too. It's just more stuff to plug in. So what is your radius? The only thing we're plugging in here is it 14 or is it 7? Yes. Okay. So our surface area of the hemisphere would simply be 49 times 3 times pi. So I can do 3 pi times 7 squared. So yeah, that sounds right. Approximately 461.81 inches, because I did inches on this one, squared. Now, somebody doesn't believe me that was going to be 3 pi r squared. What if I plugged it in at the top? 4 pi times 7 squared equals this, divided by 2 equals this, plus, now I've got to add some parentheses, pi r squared, so I need pi times 7 squared, equals, I got the exact same answer, decimals every single one, okay? So you can plug it in and go and use this formula at the beginning. You don't have to simplify, reduce, and simplify like I did. It depends on how algebra you want to be. Okay, so we also need the volume. How much is it going to hold? The volume equals 4/3 pi r cubed. Okay, so now with a hemisphere, do we have to think about that circle on top at all? I mean, it's kind of like a bowl. Do we have anything on top that's going to deal with our area? No. So for a hemisphere, we're just taking this number that we get and dividing it in half. Okay? I'm not going to reduce before I go on. You could with the 4/3 and the 2, but why would we want to deal with fractions when we don't have to? Okay, so here we go. I'm going to hit alpha y equals, and I'm going to do a fraction. 4 divided by 3. And then I'm going to say times pi times 7 raised, is this little arrow thing, raised to the 3rd power. And I get an answer, but then I need to divide by 2. Okay? The hemisphere volume is approximately 718.3775, which we should round up to 0.38 inches cubed. Okay? Does that sound okay? They do a sports application about a basketball. Sometimes, when you buy a soccer ball or usually not basketballs. I don't know why. Whatever. Okay, soccer balls are deflated. They're flat. Okay? And you have to come home and you have to air it up. When you do that, you are putting volume of air into something. Okay, so they say a regulation men's basketball is about 30 inches in circumference. How many cubic inches of air does it take to inflate the basketball of the size to the nearest hundredth? Okay, so this time they give you a circumference. Not a radius, not a diameter. They give you a circumference and ask you to find the volume. Can you do that? C equals pi d, or C equals 2 pi r. And you know what C is. What did they tell us C was? 30 inches. 30 inches in circumference. So then we would say 30 equals 2 pi r, and we would solve for r. I'm going to divide by 2 pi. When you divide by 2 pi, I don't know what 15 divided by pi is. So I'm going to pull this up, and I'm just going to say 30 divided by 2. Now I'm going to give you a hint. If I just do 2 pi, it will not be correct. Just going to tell you that right now. Because PEMDAS says divide, then multiply. So it's going to divide, 30 divided by 2 is 15, 15 times pi, and that's not what we're doing. So I'm going to go back and insert some parentheses. In parentheses. Okay? If I'm just going to show you what would have happened if I had not done parentheses. We would have gotten 47. And please tell me you know that's not correct. So our answer should have been R equals 4.7746, or etc. I'm going to keep that in my basket, in my calculator, okay? And if I want to find the volume, now we just plug this in. V equals 4/3 pi r cubed. And if that r is that number, oh, I should not have written this right in the middle of the board. Okay, we can figure it out. So I'm going to do my fraction, 4/3 times pi times, and then I'm going to do parentheses, second answer. I'm going to pull, oh, I can't. Never mind, because I did it different. And I'm going to go up to this one. If you've got this type of calculator, you can pull that in, okay? And I'm going to raise it to the 3rd power. Okay? It's approximately, the volume is 455.9. So I'm going to go ahead and say 456 cubic inches of air to inflate it. Yeah, they rounded to 477. They got a little bit different number than I did, but it's pretty close. 455.9 or 454.6 because they rounded their radius. I like to keep more pieces. Okay, sorry I went along a little bit longer than I anticipated. So today we're just going to do lesson 80 and we're just going to do the practice. Don't forget to study for your homework quiz tomorrow. Go back through. It will only be through lesson 76 is what I think I said. And I should have all those uploaded for you. I think I have already. I haven't done 77, 78. I haven't done the ones from this week. But I'll try to get those into you soon. Maybe by the time you watch this, they'll be there. All right, bye, guys. I will talk to you later. Goodbye.